we continue to explore what it means to be human, or what it means to be real. There are several simple stories that allow several questions to be asked of us. The first is the story about a very pious man who took it upon himself to point out the wrongdoings of others with the possibility of leading them to salvation. But he noticed that one of his neighbors was an inveterate gambler. So the pious man took it upon himself that every time he saw his neighbor going off to the gambling hall, that he would take a stone and place it in front of his neighbor's house. Well, every day when the gambler went off to the gambling hall, he would notice his neighbor there, the pious man, and he would think to himself, oh, if only I could be like him, and look how kind he is, pointing out to me again and again my vice. And on his way back he would look at his pious neighbor and berate himself for not being able to be like this good man. Now this went on for several decades, and there was a pile of stone outside the gambler's house. But the pious man continued to congratulate himself on, look at me, being able to point out the wrongdoing of this man, showing him what it is. But then it so happened that there was a natural catastrophe, and both of them found themselves at the pearly gates at the same time. Now, to his very great surprise, one of the angels came over to the gambler and very gently said to him, "Come with me, I'm taking you to the heavenly realms." And then as the gambler looked, he saw another angel go over to the pious man and roughly take him by the soul and say, "Come on, we're taking you down to the netherworld." And the gambler said to the, no, you must be mistaken, you must have got us confused. It's he who should be going to the heavenly realms and me who should be going to the netherworlds. And the angel stopped and explained to him, "You are being taken to the heavenly realms because," and your neighbor, the pious man, is being taken to the netherworlds because. So this is the question relative to this story. How would we complete this story? But the second story is about a farmer who was tending his fields when suddenly a huge, fierce tiger came bounding after him. So of course, fearing for his life, he climbed the nearest tree. And of course, as he waited there shaking and trembling, after some time, of course, the tiger left impatiently. But then the farmer suddenly realized how tall this tree was, and he has no recollection of how he managed to scale it, to get to the top, to get away from the tiger. So he was in a very great dilemma. So at this time, he decided that he would importune God to seek God's assistance. So he called out, he said, "Oh God, please, I'm at the top of this tall, tall tree, and I don't know how I got here or how I can get down, but if you help me, I'll give you everything that I own." But then the man noticed that there was kind of a sturdy kind of a branch jutting out, just at a point where he thought he might be able to reach, and so he did. So he managed to clamber down onto this big branch, but then he looked down and realized that was still a long, long way down there. So again he looked and said, "Oh God, please, I managed to get this far, but please, if you help me to get down, I'll give you all of my cows." But then he noticed that there was one of those nodes that stick out of trees when the sap seeps out, and he realized that he could get a bit of a foothold on that. So with a bit more clambering, he managed to get down and find himself another kind of sturdy place to rest. But again he looked down, "Oh dear, that's a long way down." But then he said, "Oh God, well, I've managed to get this far on my own, but it's a long, long way down. If you help me to get down, I'll give you 2 sheep." But then, of course, he noticed that there was another way that he could clamber down, and it was a little bit slippery, so he found his way down to another branch. But still, it was still a long way down, far too far to jump. So he looked at him and said to God, "Oh, please, it's still a long way down there, but if you help me get the rest of the way, I'll give you 2 chickens." But then, of course, as the story goes, he found another little ledge to get down to, and he got down there. And, it wasn't too far, but it was a bit too far to jump. But he said to God, "God, oh, please, if you take me down to the bottom, I'll give you 2 eggs." But then, of course, the animals had come along and scratched the bark off the bottom of this tree, so it was kind of slippery, and so he was able really to slide right down to the bottom. So when he got to the bottom, he looked up. So the question is, what did he say to God when he got to the bottom? So we have 2 questions here. The gambling man who goes to heaven because, and the pious man who goes to hell because, and the man who got down from the tree. And what did he say to God when he got down to the bottom? What say you?
I've got an idea about the man that climbed the tree.
Yes.
I think he said, "You can have the 2 eggs, God, because I did the rest by myself, but I'm a generous man."
Well, I say the gambler and the man who was very pious, one had a very rigid structure way of looking at life and following all the rules, while the other one was taking risks and putting himself on the line. And he saw the other one as being very good and he being very bad.
Yes.
But actually, the spirit doesn't judge things like that.
Yes. Yes. Because. And how do these two little stories contribute to our exploration into what it means to be human, or what it means to be real? What are we discovering in this place where we no longer need to try?
Well, like reality